Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the wait. Just getting a few things prepared. Tonight's not going to be a particularly long stream. I'm just going to go over a couple of topics real quick, and then I'm going to close things out. So two things I wanted to hit up on is, well, hang on a second. Mainly something that's going on between Worski and Coach Red Pill, because it's like, for as bad as Worski is, Worski will tell lies as an example. I don't really see Worski, but in fact, Ralph will tell lies too, but, well, actually, Ralph's a bit more. Ralph is guilty of the latter behavior, but when Worski tells lies, he usually tells them in such a way where, I haven't really seen him tell a lie in such a way where he tries to deliberately go after somebody's character in a way that's untrue, generally speaking, unless he's just believing some kind of popular myth that's being spread and he convinces himself that's real. If he bullshits about someone else, he's not going to just come up with it out of thin air of nothing. Conversely, though, he's faced at least one enemy that's just habitually does this, and that person would be none other than the guy I put in the description, Gonzalo Lira, aka Coach Red Pill. Now, back in 2017, late 2017, Coach Red Pill was getting a lot of shit by a bunch of skeptic figures. He got shot on by V, by Academic, by Sargon, by a guy I think he was called the Guardian. Just because of party politics alignment. But as far as his character goes in any event, not necessarily all the accusations that were being levied against the guy, yeah, they were right. It pains me to admit that, but the skeptics are pretty much correct about Coach Red Pill. He's a piece of shit. He is garbage. He's a con man, and he will do anything he can to get him to gain a like the guy saying honestly, the guy saying honestly is just a tactic. That should have been the red flag for everybody right there. And yeah, that was anyone who's propped up or support this guy, honestly, they all made a mistake. So, and frankly, there was times where I defend the guy, and that was a mistake as well. There's this guy's just horrible, and you'll see what I mean in a second. Let me just get the video real quick. The one link I didn't prepare for this. Because I saw Andy make a video today, and I was like, and it just seemed weird to me that he would make a video like he did, where he just basically takes the stuff that Coach Red Pill threw at him and just kind of tosses it back and have a pill. Yes, the video last time I made on Worski, which this is the same Andy. I'm not sure if that's references something real quick. Yeah, but oh, okay. Give me a second. Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. Testing again. Let's see if this works. Okay. All right, I'm getting one mutter and one good now, so better. Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, then continuing. Hopefully this won't get in the way. All right. So, as I was saying last time, when it came to Coach Red Pill's overall character, the skeptics were correct about him. He is a scumbag, and he's been caught lying over and over again But this time he did it in a way that's a lot worse. Like he sunk to a new low that makes me just like I don't know how to like look. There's no better way I can put this than just to play the video he made. Let me get that real quick. That is not the correct window. Give me 1 second. Okay, much better. All right. So I'm going to play this and starting now. I just love how he puts so much effort into this to make himself just as dramatic as possible, yet he doesn't even bother to edit out that blurb there, that bad take. It just shows his inauthenticity. This is almost as good as the time that Sargon just did a double F. Anyway. No sound on Red Pill's video. Okay, that's odd. Give me a second. Let me see if I can fix that. That's really weird. Okay, give me 1 quick second. I'll try to fix that. All right, let me try this again.
Hi there. Hi there. I get no pleasure from making this video, and I'm not going to get any kind of pleasure posting it. But I thought I ought to. You're going to see two clips. One is of my 3-year-old son. Take a look. What?
Scorpio.
Are you scared?
Now, I'm not even sure if I should bother him. Like, I'm wrong for me to put this out there, but issue with what he's doing here. We can script that. Okay, give me a second. Apparently, all right. Give me 1 second. Okay, that should put things back to normal. Let me know if you can hear me well. Also, this is the last time I go to the Boomer thrift store for a headset. Okay, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, excellent, excellent. All right. Um, now, as I was saying, why is Coach Red Pill dragging his 3-year-old son into this? Just why? Why is he using his own son as like a bargaining chip to guilt people into taking his side and feeling sympathy for him over a joke that Andy and Ralph made? Like, this is disgusting. If his whole complaint is, hey, don't bring my kids into this, if that's really what this is about, why is he going ahead and playing this huge sympathy card? There's no point in doing that. And yeah, I'll comment on what Andy and Ralph said in the clip, but in fact, let's just let's play this whole thing out.
Cobra.
It's a cobra? A lion?
Cobra. Little cobra.
Yeah, I see it. Whoa, that's scary. Ooh, and that's a scorpion. Ooh, it's pretty damn scary. You scared?
No.
Yeah, good.
Crocodile.
A crocodile?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Look, come over here and say hello to the camera.
Hello.
What's your name? Oh, come on, say your name.
Ramos.
And how old are you?
Tony.
And how old are you going to be?
4.
When's your birthday? He doesn't care.
That kid's name, his age, it's out there forever now. And this is all over some petty, stupid internet drama that at the end of the day, it does not matter. Like, seriously, it does not matter to this. It should not matter to this guy at all. There's no point in him doing this, not even from like a sneaky con artist perspective. The only purpose this serves is that, sure, I'll drag down his competition a little bit by making his core audience hate them even more. And I guess the idea there would be to get them to even to stop watching those two characters. But he's like, he already has the numbers in order to make money off of what he does. The incel market is not dried up. So the only point in him doing all of this is just petty internet bullshit. And it's just disgusting. And this is the same guy that complained, oh no, Andy, like, this is the same guy that previously had claimed that Andy had gone on Cow and posted, I hope your son dies. And he showed no evidence to back this up. And even if we take his story at face value, his claim doesn't support the case that Andy said that at all. It's an anonymous image board that anyone can post on it. Yeah, just like some people are saying, he's scum and he's trying to personalize it. Like, it's just disgusting. Let's play the rest of this garbage.
Now, my son has a very serious kidney condition. It's not life-threatening, thank goodness, but potentially he could lose his kidney, and it has me, of course, very worried.
Oh yeah, look at him mug at the camera right there. He just has his eyes. It looks dead and droning at the camera like some kind of a zombie. It's just, like, this guy is just gross. He is just fake as shit. You know he isn't this hurt or upset by what was said. Like, he is hamming this up as much as possible.
Now, I told this in confidence to Andy Worski, the YouTuber. I told him because I was going to have to postpone work on the documentary that I'd filmed when in Knoxville, the whole documentary about his non-fight with Tonka.
Now, 2 points I want to make about this. The first one being, why doesn't he just say, hey, Andy, I can't get to your documentary on the date that I said I'd get it released on due to personal reasons or matters pertaining to family? Like, you don't have to go into detail as to what. You can just say that. It's ambiguous enough where he doesn't have to know a single thing. That's the first point. The second point is, notice how he shifted his attitude towards the whole Tonkasaw fight, where before he was all gung-ho about making the documentary, titling it rather enthusiastically, The Fight That Never Was. And now he's like, oh, well, it's not much of a fight. Andy's overplaying it. His attitude completely changes based on his circumstances, where he stands in this stupid, gay, let's tear each other down because some dumb thing some other people said bullshit that's currently going on.
And I told him in confidence to explain why the editing was going to be delayed. And I told him to keep it to himself. Now you're going to see another clip right now. It's of Ethan Ralph and Andy Worski driving to Florida. Do keep in mind there are some racial epithets thrown around at first, but they are necessary for context. Near the end of the clip is the key moment.
What the fuck is that?
I think it's the Greyhound bus thing. So
This Greyhound bus smells like fucking...
dude, there's a lot of
Smells like
people on there.
smells like a lot of non-white happening in that bus. True as for 5 says Ralph in the bathroom eating nachos while knicker. Oh, that smells like awful.
Hey, Carolina. Oh, jeez.
Oh my god, what the?
Why does North Carolina
SoCal,
smell like
you
a porta
fart.
potty?
It smells like Coach's dead baby decomposing.
More like Sargon.
So, what do we have to say about? Okay, and
Now I'm gonna pause that right there, and I'm gonna play a little bit, and then I'll give context for that comment, because it's obvious that Ralph is not referring to the kid with leukemia.
Let's go to Roanoke and see if we
And-
disappear.
Hang on a second. That wasn't it. Let me just roll back a little bit, because I could have sworn I heard them say
More like Sargon.
right there. That's more like Sargon's, referring to like Sargon's miscarriage, which I'm not approving of this particular line of vein of humor, but I'll show why this is bullshit in a moment for Coach to be belly aching over any of this realistically. But here's I'll get what Andy meant in a moment, or what he claims to have meant, and I honestly don't have a reason not to believe him. I don't believe that, I don't believe Andy Ralph would joke about some kid with leukemia dying. Which also, another thing I should point out, we don't actually, given that Coach just pathologically lies about this stuff, we don't know if the kid actually has leukemia or not. And you might say, well, how dare you speculate something like that? Coach decided to present his kid in the public, so now it's free for grabs for people to actually comment on, speculate. So I'll get up that other clip in a moment. Actually, let's just do it this way. A lot simpler. Okay, skipping over to this part here.
second thing, Coach is a liar. He knows for a fact his new video about Ralph and I, where he claims that
Sorry about that, little technical difficulties with the video. Give me a second and I'll play it at the timestamp of 50 seconds in right now.
second thing, Coach is a liar. He knows for a fact his new video about Ralph and I, where he claims that we were making fun of his sweet son who looks like he's a nice boy, who is sick right now. You know for a fact we weren't making fun of your son. We were making fun of your baby killing techniques, of what disgusted us. When Ralph said rotting fetus, rotting baby, he didn't mean your son who's sick. You know what he meant. And you're using him as sympathy bait? Disgusting.
Yep. And Andy there, that's not the joke. I don't believe that Ralph and Andy wouldn't make a joke directed at some kid like that. Now, an aborted fetus, well, they're unwilling to make a joke about that, which I'm not personally going to make that kind of a joke, but I'm also not going to, like, get on a high horse and say that, that's the worst thing he could ever do, or it deserves, like, throwing some present, bringing your family members out and crying over it and, like, putting them in the spotlight, or let alone a kid. But here's why Coach can't complain about that. The reason Coach can't complain about that is, in the video, Andy Worski is four things. He joked about the same subject matter.
The third thing he is a liar. Yeah, he's a fucking liar. He lied about me. I mean, he lies about everybody. I mean, he's taking a page from Zoom, I take it. He lies about me and says that at Knoxville, I told him in confidence that I'd convinced a girlfriend of mine to have an abortion. Now, that's a flat-out lie. And I can prove to you, show to you 3 reasons why it's a lie. Number 1, I never did that. Number 2, I would never tell Andy such a personal story. Never. And I never did. Not to Andy at any rate. So I did not tell him that story. And number 3, if I actually had gotten a girlfriend pregnant and convinced her to have an abortion, do you guys think that I would have a problem admitting it? Huh? I mean, you guys know me. I would say so. I wouldn't give a shit. Yeah. I mean, I've talked about a couple of bastards I've left behind. Do you think I'd have a problem talking about some girl that I got pregnant and convinced her to have an abortion? I mean, think. Huh? So, of course, Andy Worski lied about me.
Even the fact that item number 2 and item number 3 directly contradict each other. He wouldn't tell Andy personal, but he would tell the entire world about something so personal. He's cracking jokes about, like, how he'd go ahead and he aborted the kid. He doesn't shit about that. And this is a guy full of life. He's full of shit. He's crying out tears where he's made it up, like, oh, I need to, like, show flats, which will make them look bad. And that's to provide context, though, which it doesn't provide any context. Could have cut that from the clip, absolutely, as people in the chat have pointed out. And let's play the rest of the clip, because it's just awful.
So what do we have to say about,
Let's go to Roanoke and see if we
And-
disappear.
Is this the world's longest pause? Like, was there any attempt at all from him whatsoever to make this come across as a genuine video that he's deeply distraught by? I mean, like, I gotta go back again and time that pause. How long was it? Like, did anyone catch that? It was over 12 seconds long. I think Ongo would blush them out and they're created.
Yeah. Funny. The death of a child. Yeah. That's very funny. Look, I had a falling out with Andy Worski and Ethan Ralph. But I can say hand to heart that I would never say anything like that to them. I despise them, but I wouldn't wish ill on any of their family members, nor have I. I just want you to see what kind of people Ethan Ralph and Andy Worski really are. Because I was blinded for a while, but now I can see clear as day.
Oh no, they're holding beers. Just give this. Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother playing the rest of this. It's just so lame. I think it illustrates the point. I think I've illustrated the point. This guy is fake as shit. He's willing to use his own kids to go ahead and gain sympathy points in these dumb flame wars, which people compare this to Pablo, because Pablo would put the children as avatars and just parade that around to make himself look good, and he'd have them also comment them and reference them from time to time. Which, yeah, I called that out. I thought it was pretty gross and disgusting that he put his children in the forefront like that. But it could, at least in the case of Pablo, at least that could be chalked up to recklessness. Like he was just an idiot. It's possible you could give him that benefit of the doubt. I personally wouldn't, but make your own judgment call on that. In the case of Coach Red Pill, there's no doubt about it. Absolutely none. This guy is just exploiting his own children, and he's doing it just over dumb internet drama bullshit. Like, I just don't know what to say. It's like, is this like, this is also another pattern that I've seen about Coach Red Pill over time. It's a pattern I've noticed from people from Gamergate, people in Donga's camp, and to a certain extent, people in the current remnants of the internet blood sports genre. It's that they take the internet way too fucking seriously, to the point where they treat it like it's more real than real life. And Coach Red Pill is a really good example of this, because because his whole shtick with his channel is relaying his real life experiences to a way to get incels to buy into his bullshit about oh, I was kicked out of college, I had a bad falling out with a business deal, I had some other failure in my life, I was divorced twice, with the theme of failure being a consistent tone of it. But lately, because he's been spending all his time on the internet, all his stories are about his internet shenanigans and how that's comparable to the dating world when you go out to meet a woman and presumably, and do things with her. But it's a really weird and odd thing to see, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking into that aspect a little too much, but yeah, Coach Red Pill's a snake, a liar, and he's a really bad actor. Like he's trying to mug it up for those Oscars, but he ain't getting any. He is just transparent as glass, and everyone's seen. And the dislike ratio is really bad on this one. Like at least 1 out of every 3 people said no, this was bullshit, and they went ahead and put that down. So yeah, I thought this was pretty disgusting. I really can't make much light of it, because I just don't get why he put the kids involved. I don't get that part. Really bad move on his part, and I imagine he's gonna lose support for this. And good. I just hope he continues to lose his mind over Andy Worski and Ralph, and he keeps on making dumb content like this, so that way people can continue to make fun of him, because fuck this guy. He's fucked over way too many people to just keep having any relevancy. But there's also one more topic I wanted to show, and that's, it goes back into the CP the CP stream that happened on Friday of Friday, I believe it was the 1st. Yeah, Ralph's lying again. I didn't think it would get worse in the COG stream, but it did. Ralph is just and I have to give the credit to this one for Zoom, as people pointed in the chat last night. I'm gonna play a good chunk of it, but I'm gonna do it 1.5 speed, so it doesn't take up too much time. And I'll comment every so often, but I think Zoom does a pretty good job with this one. Let me play that.
Now, before I got home,
Okay, let's listen to this.
I had received a call that
Just to context, the stream was done, I believe it was Saturday. I'm mistaken about the exact date. And it was in the middle of his Godspeed live stream, and he was going over how Ralph told the story.
a couple detectives from the Richmond police had come by my house. And if you watched the DC stream last night, you don't see me very much for the last hour because it kind of took me out of the mood of the whole IRL streaming. Because it was like, wow, these spurgs have really, seeped over into my real life at this point, and now what the fuck, police are coming by my house, and I was just like, all right, fuck it, I want to get back home. So if you watch the last hour, you'll notice I'm not on camera that much because it's just like, oh fuck, this is bullshit. But when I got home, around 8:45, and I was already gonna probably postpone the stream, but I got home around 8:45. Now this is not the apartment; I have another home too, and a car pulled in right behind me. And I was like, okay, well, this is the police. I've had dealings with police before. I know this is how the police operate. They roll in right behind you. So I got out of my car. A female detective walked up, and she said, hey, I came by earlier. I'm with the Richmond police, and, I want to talk to you about a few things. You're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. Don't worry about it. But I just wanted to...
So she just pulled up behind him. No announcement, not letting him know that the cops are going to be there. They make no attempt at all to tell him ahead of time that, hey, we know you're on probation. We didn't bother to let your parole officer know that we're coming to meet you. Never at any point did the Richmond police think that it would be a smart idea to contact somebody that's already on parole. So, and they never let him know, hey, we're going to get there right as you get there. They just pull up on him. So it's very strange that they didn't pull up on him with the probation officer. They should have contacted his probation officer. They should have known that he was already on parole. They would have ran his rap sheet and seen that he was arrested previously. They would have bought the probation officer, and they wouldn't have sent a woman, too, given the fact that he has a history of violence against cops. So it's very strange.
Kind of clear up a few things with you. I said, yeah, I think I already know why you're here. And she said, wait, well, why do you think I'm here? And I said, well, people called, trolls on the internet called you and said that I had child porn. And she said, well, how did you know that? And I said, well, they publicly posted the phone call that they made on an image board called Cal on 8chan. And then I played her a little bit of this.
No, that's just common practice. If they have somebody that has just been arrested and did time in jail for attempting to assault an officer while intoxicated, why would they send out a lone woman to just talk with him privately alone in the middle of the night and pull up on him? They would have sent her there with a partner so that they could both get an even take, and they would have asked questions. It's very strange that they would just send her out there, a lone woman by herself, with somebody that has a history of attacking cops. So he just explained a woman detective got out of the car. Where are all the other cops? And I thought an FBI agent was there too. He just said a lone woman.
This is not the apartment. I have another home too. And a car pulled in right behind me. And I was like, okay, well, this is...
Also, I have to say here, Zeus, like, most talent there's several tells, like how Ralph keeps on shifting between it was one woman, it was a woman attack. I can't guess the plays on. Probably the biggest tell is say that to exonerate someone. I've never heard of this happen. I don't think this has ever happened, ever. And I don't think it ever will happen because I think the FBI are smarter than just to be going ahead and browsing 8chan to see if a guy is guilty or innocent or the probability of either case being. Like, it's just a ridiculous idea that Ralph is throwing out there. And I imagine the most gullible of his audience will buy it, but oh, I got another F in the chat. I'm going to need a new mic. Give me a sec. Okay, testing the mic again. Hopefully it's working now. Okay, good. All right, so to go over the previous point, I don't see detectives going to 8chan to check up on to see to build or try to disprove their own case. It seems like a real ridiculous thing, and anyone who believes that is, well, they'd probably be a what's known today as a quote-unquote Ralph-a-male.
Is the police. I've had dealings with police before. I know this is how the police operate. They roll in right behind you. So I got out of my car. A female detective walked up, and she said, hey, I came by earlier.
He just said, got out of the car, female detective walked up. Women cops aren't going to pull up on a guy completely alone that has a history of attacking cops, and they wouldn't send a woman either. So at this point, I'm Xing it out. That's not general process with approaching somebody that has a history of attacking cops. And where are all the other cops? Just one woman shows up. This is bullshit.
I'm with the Richmond.
In the Richmond area, and
Ghost.
green, whites, and you admitted.
Argues that's a lie, and I didn't have any child porn. And she's like, look, I don't even care if you. It goes on. It's like 8 minutes long. I'm not gonna play the whole call.
Now listen to
I only
this.
played 2 or 3 minutes for her, and at that point, I said, well, I didn't admit any drug use. That's a lie, and I didn't have any child porn. And she's like, look, I don't even care if you have drugs.
That right there. You're telling me that a fucking cop came up to your house with suspicion that you could have child porn on the computer, and she said, I don't care if you have drugs on you while you're on probation? Are you fucking kidding me? Let me just listen to that again.
I'm not gonna play the whole call. I only played 2 or 3 minutes for her, and at that point, I said, well, I didn't admit any drug use. That's a lie, and I didn't have any child porn. And she's like, look, I don't even care if you have drugs. That's not why I'm here. I said, yeah, I understand. I know you have to check these things out.
I don't even care if you have drugs. That's not why I'm here. He's on probation. If he's under suspicion for a crime, they would have called his probation officer and brought them with him. They would have said, he's being reported for having drugs, he's being reported for having child porn, you have to come and represent him. It's just weird.
And she said, well, why would somebody do this to you? And I said, well, they think it's funny. And I literally pulled up a Chan Cow and showed it to her. I said, they literally sit in this thread all day and think of ways to fuck with us. And she said, yeah.
Remember, guys, if an officer of the law is interrogating you over committing one crime or another, the thing you should do is go to Cow and point to all the people trolling and laughing at you for being a retard and getting caught reasonably suspected of crimes. Just show it to the officer and just say, hey, look, see? No, you got it all wrong, ma'am. I didn't kill that hooker. See, it's all trolls. Don't ignore the dead body in the dumpster, all right? That's all you got to do. Another Ralph Hamel tip.
Yeah, I know a little bit about it. I said, the whole stream's up. She said, we got sent clips, like little snippets out of the stream. And I said, yeah, the whole stream's posted if you want to go listen to it. She said, yeah, I actually did. It was on a place, something called Kiwi. And I go, Kiwi Farms. You know, obviously I already know what it is. And she said, yeah, Kiwi Farms. We started talking and just like, she was nice. I mean, there was no problems whatsoever. And she said, look, I just want to get this cleared up tonight. I think it's probably bullshit. But let's just get it cleared up tonight so I don't have to, so we can just, I can report back and say there's nothing up.
So at this point, the cop says, I checked out Kiwi Farms. I checked out Cow. At this point, she hasn't even been in the house more than, 5-10 minutes? He shows her some clips from his stream, and she says, this sounds like bullshit. She never at any time follows normal law procedure, gets out a forensics kit, starts looking through his computer. No, she just takes a person that is a felon that's on probation at their word and says, it's okay, I don't care if you got
Okay.
drugs. It's all right. I've seen it. I've heard the snippets. I checked it out on something, Kiwi something. Yeah, Kiwi Farms. Yeah, you were definitely on the farms, right? Yeah, I checked that forum out. It seems like there are a bunch of spurgs. It seems like bullshit. I just need to, cross the T's, dot the I's. That's all I need to check everything out. Sounds okay. So let's listen to the story continue.
And I said, sure, okay. And she said, if you can just let her partner is actually FBI agent. This is like a task force.
You hear that right there? Her partner is an FBI agent. The FBI operates independently. They would never partner up with a fucking local police force in Richmond, Virginia, unless they were working on actively arresting a criminal and they set up an intermediary task force to track the criminal and arrest them. That is the only time. There is no way in hell a cop from the Richmond Police Department showed up with an FBI agent partner. What the fuck is this? They work together, but they don't have an active partnership like that. An FBI agent's going to show up in their own shit with their own fucking car. They're going to show up in a fucking Richmond police car and get out and be like, yeah, we're in this task force together. That's not how the task force fucking work. I know how they work. They're not going to be local partnerships. They're not going to show up in the same car. They have their own fucking cars. I just called the fucking FBI agent live on the air, and they said that was bullshit. You're going to tell me that this guy didn't come up? You don't think that there's fucking something called procedure, especially when approaching a suspected criminal, that the FBI agent himself...
All right, I think at this point, I just be pretty much me agreeing with Zoom here. You pretty much get the gist of it. The idea that Ralph would exonerate himself by going ahead and searching up Cow and Kiwi Farms and the police officer and the FBI agent, who are apparently part of the same squad or whatever, would just go ahead and nod and go along with it and say, yep, yeah, that's what happened, and just walk away without any consequences whatsoever. No call to probation officer, no no further questioning. Like, that just seems ridiculous to me. So the events that Ralph is describing here, I'm going to say that, no, I'm going to say he's lying again, honestly. Like, now there are some possible defenses that I could come up with for this. One, The officers involved are amazingly, and extremely inept. I don't know how likely this is, but I would say it's going to be that scenario is extremely likely that Ralph is 100% telling the truth here, and yeah, that doesn't bode well. The other possibility is the events are mostly true, and Ralph has just been played a fool, and the police just gave him an early visit, and they're already working behind the scenes in order to take him down in a big way he's not expecting. I don't find this scenario to be likely either. I think that while it would be pretty funny, I don't think that I don't think they are going to put that much effort to take down Ralph. Although again, it would be pretty funny if that turned out to be the case. The third possible defense is that if he's not totally lying, he got some things wrong and other things he kind of embellished. So he's lying a little bit, but some things are true. Maybe he did get a stop by a police officer and detective. Maybe it didn't go out so favorably as he's described. But in all likelihood, though, I think that the main thing is that he's full of shit. He made up either most or all of the story, and he's doing this in such a way to say that, look, see, the police investigated me. I did no wrong. I didn't put the emails on the server. I was already investigated by the FBI. They weren't there. I didn't risk any confidential information. Just believe me, guys. It's okay. I'm exonerated. The FBI director said so. I think that's the angle Ralph's going with this one, and I think it's weak, and I don't see people buying it. In fact, all it's doing is the more Ralph talks about this issue, like if Ralph were just to shut up and just step back, let Worski kind of spurg out if he wants to or not, then I think Ralph would be off the hook. But the more Ralph talks about this, the more it's like I'm thinking that there's one, I think that Ralph had more involvement than he let on stream, and two, I'm beginning to think that like there is something really, really much worse than these guys are talking about. It's just I don't know. There was also something else interesting mentioned in the chat. Yeah, Zoom and Ralph did kind of temporarily bury the hatchet, but I think that was just so that way Streamy could potentially get off the ground. But now that that's no longer a thing, it's apparently Zoom's just going after Ralph again. And honestly, I say good. He's exposing him as being a liar once again. I'm also going to link this video in the chat right now, and later I'll update the description for the full stream so you can see the other stuff that Zoom does, like call some officers and like do some background checks on what happened and try to get more intel to see if there's any chance that Ralph's story could be legit. So aside from that, oh, there is one more thing I want to play from this stream, and I think I'll close this stream that I'm playing, and then I think that'll be it for tonight. Let me just get that real quick, because I think that maybe, let me see, is this where I want it to be?
Andy talked to the police. You told this whole story. Never at any time do you mention it.
Pass, Ralph. I won't run that. I won't run that poll or ask that question. But she was fairly attractive. All right, but yeah, that's what happened with it. I told Gator this last night. I told other people, but I didn't go into it on air. But yeah, they actually did come by my house. The SOVA, that's Southern Virginia, I believe. ICAC Task Force came by, looked through my shit, and cleared me of it. So
all I've got to say, Ralph, is that this is what happens when you try to protect children. It's the second time. It's the second time you've tried to.
You would have thought I would have learned by now, yes, but well, that's what
you haven't learned your. You haven't learned.
Now, just listen to that. Listen to Gator again. Like, this is the thing about Gator, and this is something I thought of today, hearing that, and like going over some of my previous thoughts on Gator. It's like he's the yes man for Ralph. Every time Ralph has an opinion on something, or he's there to back him up 100% and just go in there and aid him. Yeah, Ralph, you're right. Look at that. And he plays it up to make Ralph look even better. If Ralph makes an argument, Gator tries to improve it, even if that improvement doesn't make any lick of sense. If Ralph does something stupid or bad, he does damage control and tries to go in and save him. If Ralph's, etc. These are the behaviors this guy exhibits. And you know what's funny? The funny thing is that, well, a similar duo, that would be Tonkasaw and Failure, had a very similar relationship to one another, where Failure would pretty much just co-sign whatever Tonka said, and Tonka and Failure was pretty low energy. But there were times on the Kumite when failure would speak up. He would have his own personality. He'd even argue with Tonkasaw a bit. He wouldn't do it very well. He'd do it very poorly. But you know what? At least I can say that just from a viewer's perspective, listening to the show, I could say that, yeah, those two guys, they at least had defined personalities, whereas Gator is just being a yes man for Ralph. And he's a bitch. And the reason I say he's a bitch is because he's just doing all this for free. Absolutely nothing, while his host, Ralph, rakes in all this thousands of dollars from super chats. Like, how could you be such a bitch that you go ahead and you suck this other dude's cock and you act like a prostitute, but you do it without getting a dime for it? That's really fucking pathetic and gay. That's all I can really say about that. Anyway, is Gator Southern? I don't know. The only thing I do know is that Gator is a really weird, really fat dude who's probably never gotten laid in his life. And he just looked really cringy and pathetic at that Knoxville rally, and I don't think he'll ever live that down. And he has no one to blame but himself, because I remember a time when I tagged Gator. I told him, hey, if you go there, you're going to get doxxed. And what happened? He got doxxed. You'll notice that if you look at Cal these days, Gator's getting a lot of shit, but Zidane isn't getting as much shit, even though they're kind of in the same boat, so to say. And I think there's a few reasons for that. One, Zidane actually has his own personality, brings something to the table. And two, Zidane wasn't stupid enough to show his face. I think that's really the gist of it. So, yeah, I figured I'd give my thoughts on that. And like I said, I think that's going to be it for tonight. You can, if I missed anything or if I got anything wrong or you want to update me on something that's developed, you can either post a comment into this, or go or tell me about it in the Discord that's linked in the description, or you can hit me up on Twitter at JMKACC. And other than that, there'll be another stream tomorrow night at I want to start doing these earlier at around 8, but 10 seems to be the time that I do them, so I'm going to say it's going to be between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. That's when the next stream will be. Oh, one more thing I want to address. Did you see Ralph trash pick that burger and eat it? I did not, but we're going to play that next episode. All right, have a good night and peace out.